When it rains, it pours. We've got new info on games from third parties coming to Nintendo Switch right away at launch. So what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Exciting day, huge day, floodgates open day. It's pouring out like little tiny Skittles streaming from a vault. Nintendo's Furukawa announced that, hey, we're announcing the successor to Switch 2 within the next year. Everybody went bananas. We know that there's a direct in June. Brazil has told us a lot about the timeline for the year. And now Necrofelipe comes in with his knowledge on which games and which publishers are going to be there right away at launch with huge initial support. So let me know in the comments down below which of these publishers you'll be most excited to pick up games from on Nintendo Switch 2, and we'll get right into the nitty-gritty of it. Mr. Necrofelipe, a very reliable leaker from Nintendo Universo, says, companies I've heard about immediate support for the Switch 2 with a lineup throughout the year of 2025. Obviously, these are our own sources and you have no obligation to believe them, but since we are inaugurating the next system era, I decided to share what I've learned so far. And boom, we're going to have a lot of things pouring out like this now that Nintendo has made it official. So Necrofelipe has gone through 6 major publishers that he knows are going to have games at launch and will be supporting right away and throughout the year. The first one that he states is Sega and Atlus. Now this has been discussed by leaker Midori, and she said Metaphor ReFantazio, Persona, all of their remakes and more are coming to the system. So we can bet on those games. We can bet on Metaphor ReFantazio launching this October to be there right at launch, which I think is a sick JRPG pickup for Nintendo. But then we've got other companies as well, and maybe some that you wouldn't expect to be there right off the bat. Let's kick it off with Electronic Arts, who they supported Nintendo Switch okay, I guess. Not amazingly well, but getting them on board early and often would be fantastic. If we take a look at the list of games that Electronic Arts has sort of waiting in the wings, it's a very interesting slate. Now, obviously, new things can be announced at any time, and there's most definitely some surprise games that have not yet been announced that will appear on Switch 2 early in its life cycle. But if we look at this list, we've got the untitled Black Panther game, the untitled Iron Man game, a new Mass Effect, a new Battlefield, a new Star Wars Jedi Survivor sequel, we've got Skate, we've got Dragon Age Dreadwolf. Now, I think Dragon Age Dreadwolf is a great title to peg for the launch of Nintendo Switch 2. Jeff Grubb was hinting that that game is going to be the title that EA mentioned recently about launching in this fiscal year, and so whether that launches this holiday season or early 2025, that's the perfect time to port that thing over to Nintendo Switch. I don't think many of these other games would be ready in time for right at launch, right? Like the Iron Man game, the Black Panther game, next Mass Effect, probably not happening in early 2025, but if any of them happen in late 2025, like if Mass Effect is ready for late 2025, or if Skate is ready, or if the untitled Star Wars strategy game is ready, who knows? Any of these titles, Battlefield maybe, they get ready late 2025, Nintendo Switch 2 will pick them up based on Necrofelipe's knowledge and sources that EA is in, and EA will be supporting with a lineup throughout the year. I think Dragon Age Dreadwolf is a very exciting title to come out at launch, even if it's already released elsewhere. Like, that shows you the caliber of third-party games Nintendo will get on the next Switch. Capcom is another one of the 6 publishers listed by Necrofelipe. We know that they love the Switch 1. They supported the heck out of it. They delivered exclusive, well, they started off as exclusives like Monster Hunter Rise, and we know that they've got Monster Hunter Wilds debuting in 2025. I bet that's an early 2025 title. Heck, it might even be time to launch day and date on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and Nintendo Switch 2 to grab all those handheld sales in Japan to really tie into the Monster Hunter market over there and to deliver in the States and the Western world where they can pick it up on any platform they like. I think the next Resident Evil 9, which is obviously in development, will also be on Switch 2. And of course, Capcom has more games in the works. Do they have something Mega Man? Probably. They've got a bunch of franchises, a lot of games. What else could they bring? What else could they do? Just about everything. They decide to bring back Marvel vs. Capcom or Dead Rising. Boom, it's going to be on Switch 2. The next Street Fighter. Boom, it'll be on Switch 2. I think Capcom is one of the best supporters of Nintendo in the third-party space, and that will only continue with the next console. Bandai Namco is listed up there, which is a cool one. Currently, they have got Dragon Ball Sparking Zero out there with no set release date. That could be a game that really impresses and delivers a lot of fun early on in the Switch life cycle. they will end up making a bunch of games. Obviously, they supported Switch 1 very well. They even helped Nintendo support Switch 1 very well. They could even do some ports. We could bring Elden Ring to Nintendo Switch in 2025 alongside DLC. That would be a really great pickup. Maybe they do a Dark Souls collection. We got Dark Souls 1 on there, but 2 and 3 never materialized. Get them on there. That would be really fun. And we know that, Bandai Namco will make other things. They will make some Pac-Man games. They'll make a Naruto game. They will make Dynasty War. I don't know. They'll make a lot of things that end up dropping on Nintendo Switch. Probably some original games as well, which is interesting. So we've got 2 publishers left, one being Koei Tecmo. Now, Koei Tecmo, as far as I know, doesn't have any big projects out there known, but with no release dates. They recently released Rise of the Ronin on PlayStation. Could that come to Switch? It very well may. They also could bring back older titles, but I do believe that a lot of this is going to be new focused, new game focused, multi-platform focused. If you're going to be supporting a brand new console, it's probably not the time to try to toss out some old port. Everybody's going to be bringing their heavy hitters, and that'll be really exciting. So if Koei Tecmo wants to bring something that's newly announced to Switch, boom, that's the game then I think will show up early in the Switch lifecycle. The 6th and final publisher is Square Enix. Now, we know that they love Nintendo. They supported them quite well, but many of their more modern titles have not been fit for the Switch. And when they tried to bring them over, like Kingdom Hearts 3, it was in the cloud. It didn't work so great. It was absolutely kind of a disaster. But I think there's a few games that are already out there that would be amazing on Switch, including the recently released Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Boom! Throw that thing on Switch 2 launch day. Don't matter that it's a year old at that point. That's going to be a big hit. That's going to be a big winner for Square Enix pocketbooks. You can charge full value for that, and it'll be great to take portably. That would be awesome. That would be fantastic. That's a long game with a ton of side content, a ton of mini games. Portable play for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth would be huge, and eventually they'll probably make that thing available elsewhere. It makes sense that they'd want to do it on Switch. We've also got Dragon Quest XII lurking, waiting, probably coming out in 2025, and that's another perfect game that could launch alongside the Switch 2 or sometime later in the year and be a big hit. I mean, we're shaping up to have a huge gauntlet of initial launch window games that are mega sellers, especially from some of these Japanese publishers. Capcom, Square Enix in particular, will probably go bananas with the Switch 2 launch. We know obviously Nintendo will as well. You're going to have a tough time picking what to purchase and what to pick up. Where will your wallet align when the Switch 2 launches? Because you might get the Dragon Quest HD 2D remake. That's more likely a Switch 1 title, but I could easily see it being a cross-gen release. And that's something to think about as well. With these systems, with these publishers, their pledge of support could be brand new games. It could also be things that release on Switch 1 and Switch 2, right? It makes sense if you're going to have a game come out this holiday on Switch 1, boom, cross-gen it up, make it look a little prettier, make it run better, and you got a Switch 2 release as well. But I do believe, especially from Capcom and Square Enix, you will see brand new titles, exclusive titles, and the best of their best. So I'm excited to get Dragon Quest XII and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on Nintendo Switch. And then, hey, they recently discussed Kingdom Hearts 4. That's still obviously years out, but when it drops, it should also be on Nintendo Switch 2. So these 6 publishers are a pretty likely list, but it's good to know that their support will be there. With EA on board, that means things like Madden should drop in year 1. That means like the next Mass Effect should finally come to Nintendo once again. And then I would expect Microsoft to be in there as well. Now, Necrofelipe isn't talking about companies that are guaranteed to have games on Switch, but ones that are committed to immediate support and have a full year lineup. That's why we're seeing this list be whittled down to 6, but something like Call of Duty should absolutely be on there, and therefore Microsoft could be counted, but maybe they don't have plans to support Switch 2 early in the life cycle or throughout the year. I mean, they barely have plans to support their console early in the year or really any year at this point. No shade to Microsoft, but man, I hope they can figure things out because their shutters and their closures don't seem to line up with what they need right now, which is more quality games. But this is a Nintendo channel and a Nintendo video, so getting Sega and Atlus, Capcom, Electronic Arts, Bandai Namco, Square Enix, and Koei Tecmo on board early for the whole year is going to be big. We did have some good third-party support at the beginning of the Switch 1 lifecycle, but a lot of it was nostalgic titles re-entering the marketplace. This is going to be brand new titles and showing that the Switch 2 can compete with these other systems, maybe not directly like visually one-to-one, but game-wise, multi-platform-wise, it's a whole new ballgame. If Nintendo gets support from these 6 alone, it'll be an amazing first year. But once you add in others, some smaller publishers, AA publishers, indie publishers, I think the first year of Switch 2 is going to easily surpass the first year of Switch 1. And that was a pretty great year. Zelda and Mario, very tough to beat. Mario plus Rabbids, boom. Instantly out there. I mean, Ubisoft isn't listed here, but maybe he just doesn't have the source for it. I think Ubisoft comes out the gates hot with Switch, whether it's Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, whatever they've got in 2025. Maybe the next Assassin's Creed game, Red, launches on Switch, day and date in 2025. That would be pretty sick. And I think this lineup is going to blow you away. I've said for a while now that third-party support will define the Switch 2 era. We already know Switch 2 is going to have great Nintendo games, but third-party games, watch out. Let me know which of these publishers you're most excited for in the comments down below. I got to go Capcom with Monster Hunter and Resident Evil, probably both blossoming on Nintendo Switch, but all of these have respectable titles and good lineups, and hey, at any time they could announce an absolute megaton that we all want to play immediately. So let me know your take in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. SwitchForce out.